You and I and our team and our producer, Sarah, this has been a passion project, a labor of love for 6 years that we do outside of our day jobs. And to be able to have that kind of reward and to get the feedback and the reviews and things like that we've been able to get, that makes it all feel worth it.
Welcome to Season 6 of Bridge the Gap, a podcast dedicated to informing, educating, and influencing the future of housing and services for seniors. Powered by sponsors AccuShield, Align, Nick Map Vision, ProCare HR, Hamilton Captel, ServiceMaster, Patriot Angels, The Bridge Group Construction, and Solinity, and produced by Solinity Marketing.
Merry Christmas and welcome to Bridge the Gap, the senior living podcast with Josh and Lucas. What an incredible year this has been. We always love at this time of year coming together and really remembering what has taken place this year. So many great guests and speakers and events that we have attended. We have so much to be thankful for, so many blessings, and it's a fun time of year for us to reflect and go back and remember all these things that have taken place.
It is, and we need to do that. This is our 6th year.
6 years.
And it's hard to believe. I mean, while in many ways it's gone by so fast, we've had so many opportunities, and this year's been no exception. It has been jam-packed, and I couldn't be more excited. So we should recap a little bit.
Recapping, let's talk about events. We'll start with events. ASHA 2023 annual meeting. We went to Scottsdale, Arizona. This is another great media partnership that we've had for, pretty much since the inception of Bridge the Gap. We really appreciate working with Dave and his team there. They're doing great things and have been for decades in the senior living industry. They've watched the trends and the shifts and the changes, and the ASHA annual meeting is a great place to discuss those topics.
They do such a great job at putting together a great event, great thought leadership, and wow, Scottsdale, so much fun. The temperature was perfect, wonderful time of year.
It was surprisingly chilly, I recall.
It was perfect for us, though. We were thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to go there. It's going to be so hot. And it was just really nice.
Well, we didn't play golf. I remember the people coming off the golf course and they were shivering, but it was one of those weird things. But if you have not attended ASHA and you've wanted to attend, it's definitely something you should look into. Another big media partnership that we have is with the NIC organization, NIC. It is really kind of where we got started recording these Bridge the Gap episodes, because we know that there's a lot of great thought leadership at each one of these conferences. And it's really a pleasure of the Bridge Gap Network to be able to highlight that content and present it freely back on the network so that people can be educated.
Yeah, and the spring event, which years ago we had the pleasure to really start going to these, the spring event originally was a little less attended, but my gosh, you go to those spring events now and it feels like the full-scale NIC fall event, and so they do an amazing job at bringing people together. Had a beautiful time in San Diego.
And the summertime Interface Atlanta, I wasn't personally able to attend this one. I had a conflict, but I know that you and our executive producer Sarah was able to attend Interface, and we've been there a number of years. A great budget-friendly, low commitment on time event where people are able to network in a big city like Atlanta.
When I think about Interface, I think one of the things that they've done really well is being accessible. I know a lot of national providers go to many of their events throughout the country to be able to get in to see the providers that really specialize in that market, in that region. And so obviously we're on the east side of the country in the southeast, so we always love getting down to Atlanta. It's a short drive for us. Met so many people that we hadn't met before that are newly emerging into the industry, but also some of our longtime friends get together.
It's always fun to meet the people that listen to Bridge the Gap and get to see new people coming into this space. And finally, this year, we were fortunate enough to be invited to Smash. Bridge the Gap had not been to Smash before. I don't know how that hasn't happened, but so many of our listeners are in the sales and marketing arena. They're great ambassadors to the program. They're great cheerleaders for the program, and they're on the front lines of the industry of trying to drive occupancy in a very unique way that connects with people on a very emotional decision, which is moving into congregate care, into senior living.
Yeah, and we've been hearing about Smash for years. Big thank you to Bailey and her team for making it happen. It's been a great time.
It has been. And it's fun to highlight all of these events. You might be listening right now and thinking like, why are they talking about all these events? Well, we get asked by so many different people because they know Bridge the Gap has attended nearly every event, conference that's possible. And so we get these questions, which event should I attend? Which is the best? Which is this? Oftentimes our answer is, well, it depends. What are your goals? Who are you trying to connect with? And it's fun for us to be able to highlight these events and go through the details. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. And if you have more questions, please reach out to Bridge the Gap and we can help direct you there. Okay, transitioning into news. By the way, if you're not a subscriber to the Bridge the Gap email newsletter, it's a great resource of weekly content for you to get connected in the industry. We have a super high, surprisingly high open rate, and we attribute that, number one, to the deep following that all of our team has created over the past 6 years. We post things about current events, job openings, news, and all things related to senior living.
I think a lot of people don't realize the depth and breadth of the Bridge the Gap network. And this didn't happen overnight. I mean, we have been at this, never missed a Monday show in over 6 years. And a lot of people also don't understand. They're like, well, how do you get such high open rates? How do you get such high engagement? How do you get so many amazing ambassadors? And it's all been organic. One relationship being built after another. Little to no paid advertising. I don't know if we've ever even paid. We've never bought lists. And so, the thousands of people that download every month, these are people that have invested their lives in the senior living industry. They're thought leaders and people that are constantly giving to make this industry better.
Bridge the Gap charts on iTunes, which has been really, really fun to see. We actually had never looked into it. And just recently we looked into it and found out Bridge the Gap is charting on iTunes in the management category. And so we just wanted to really thank our listeners, everyone that has participated in the network, on the platform, that continues to listen and download our episodes. You're the reason why Bridge the Gap has grown so much. Our mission from day one has been to inform, educate, and influence. And we really calibrate our content to be in alignment with our mission. And we can tell that it does resonate with people because the show is not about Josh and Lucas. The show is about the thought leaders and the change makers that are in our industry coming on and freely giving the best content that they can to help out and be the tide that rises all boats.
I didn't realize what a big deal that was to chart on iTunes for a senior living podcast, given the category that we're in. So some of you, like me, that may not mean a lot to if you don't understand what it takes to do that. That's a big deal. And it makes it very rewarding because I know you and I and our team and our producer, Sarah, this has been a passion project, a labor of love for 6 years that we do outside of our day jobs, and to be able to have that kind of reward and to get the feedback and the reviews and things like that we've been able to get, that makes it all feel worth it.
And a big part of those reviews and the feedback has been the contributors that have helped contribute on the Bridge the Gap network. Number one, Anthony Ormsby Hale. Everyone that's listening knows Anthony. He took on Empowering Emerging Leaders and the Strategic Leaders Playbook. 3 Tactics for Transformative Thinking was one of his podcasts that was the most downloaded podcast across our network in 2023. We really appreciate Anthony. He's not really an emerging leader. He is a leader. Despite being young, he did get an early start into the industry. We really appreciate Anthony's leadership.
Yeah, Anthony has been such not only a great friend, but as you said, a great contributor. And to have him commit so much of his time, again, outside of his day job to give back to the industry has been super rewarding. And just the list goes on and on.
Christy Van Westhuizen, she's over sales and marketing. She did an episode about the Airbnb model, the power of intentional experiences. This was episode 262. It was really impactful. It was a fun conversation. Oftentimes our listeners know that Lucas, the senior living fan, I really don't talk a whole lot on the show. I'm more of a participant and a moderator, but this is one I vividly remember I got to actually participate in because the conversation really sparked some curiosity on my part.
Many of our listeners and our viewers remember a special episode, I believe it was 282, when our producer, Sarah Mitchell, got in there with Christy And that's something that's a rare treat, not only for our audience, but for me and you. And Sarah's super humble. And so for her to provide her thought leadership, it's really a fun conversation. If you haven't listened to that, you need to go back and listen to Christy and Sarah talk about personal influence and brand and building your brand. And what a great episode that was.
We learned a lot. We learned what a podcast should be.
Exactly. And also I learned I was sweating bullets trying to somehow do Sarah's job behind the scenes. And I can tell you, it is not easy. It was good for me to be able to do that because, man, we couldn't do this without her.
Surprise we even got the recording.
Exactly.
Okay. Another great contributor to round out this list here is Katie Churchill. People know Katie as a recruiter, and she did an episode 273, Strategies to Hire and Retain the Best Employees. You know, employee retention and hiring is kind of a big topic now.
It really is. It's something that a lot of operators lose sleep over. And so, wow, to have partners like Katie, so passionate, and it's been fun to see her come into the industry and just really take off. And I think that's evidence because of who she is and the passion that she puts behind what she does.
Another big initiative here on the Bridge the Gap Network has been our Ambassador Program. It's really been a dream of ours. Even when we started this, we always knew that the platform needed to involve people in the industry to come in and participate. And we just didn't know exactly how that would transpire. A number of years ago, I'd say probably about 3 years ago, we started the Ambassador Program, and we're shocked how many people are interested, right?
I know. I can remember the conversations we were contemplating. We were like, you think anybody would want to be an ambassador? And we were just really hopeful that we might get a few applications.
3 or 4, right?
And we were shocked at the overwhelming number. And the interesting thing is year after year, that has just organically grown. And every year we're shocked at the high volume of ambassador applications that come in from just rock stars. It's very humbling to see and to witness. And so much so that now we've actually had to put a cap on it. Our biggest challenge is going through all these applications and like, how in the world do we not accept everyone? And what a special group to see them getting together at all these events, to be networking between the events, lighting up the special networking group that they have, that they communicate really on a daily basis with each other, helping each other navigate through the challenges and improve our industry together. It's more than I ever imagined it would be.
Well, and we get so many questions about the Ambassador Program, and namely, they ask, well, what is it? And it's a number of different things, but from a high level standpoint, it is an elite group of handpicked people to help pursue and hold the banner, fly the flag for the mission around Bridge the Gap, which is to
inform, educate, and influence the senior living industry.
So many people ask about the Ambassador Program, and they ask, well, what is it about? It's a group of people that want to participate in the platform in a variety of different ways. The number one thing is for them to pursue the Bridge the Gap mission. And then we also have a private chat group on the back end in the chats of LinkedIn, and it is very active. They are daily in that messaging group, networking and talking about things that are current, challenges that they're facing, even at their communities or as a service provider to the industry. There's a lot of discussion around attending different conferences and events and people asking for jobs or posting jobs. It is a variety of different, very helpful tools that a elite group of people have come together and networked around, and that's the Ambassador Program.
It's a bridge building machine for your personal network, for your own company, and for the Bridge the Gap network, and for our industry. And it's so fun to see these hardworking individuals that have committed so much of their time to helping others.
And for those that are interested, go to btgvoice.com and click Ambassador, and you can learn more about our Ambassador Program. You know, Josh, we've had so many guests from season 6, and there are a number of guests that are really memorable. Dave Schless, he comes on our program at least once a year to talk about the initiatives that ASHA is focused on, as well as their membership meetings. And that's always a really fun topic and time to connect with Dave.
Well, and we feel honored because, you know, that is a membership only group. They do so much work, not only for the industry and for the partners that are members, but also for the industry at large with their large political action committee, all the things that they're working on behind the scenes for our industry to advance it and to make sure we have the support in the political realm in Washington to help our businesses and help the industry and the residents that we serve. Always a treat to have Dave on the show.
We would not be able to bring this level of content out to the Bridge the Gap Network without our sponsors, the people that help support the cost associated with producing this level of content. And we want to highlight some of these special sponsor guests that we've had over the years. You know, Suzette Graham, she's the founder of Patriot Angels. That was episode 263. One of the most inspiring stories that I've heard in a long, long time.
Yeah, and wow, not only is she personally inspiring, but what an amazing mission that they help our veterans in our country that are so deserving. And it's fun to see the success story of her starting really just bootstrapping now to where there's really no one that doesn't know who she is and who Patriot Angels, and for them to be giving back to help underwrite and sponsor this level of content and all of the ambassadors and all the programs that we do. We couldn't do it without our sponsors.
Dave Blanchard at Hamilton Captel, episode 258 and 284. Such a great episode around social isolation. That's something that it's a huge impact on really, humans, right? Especially our older adults. And for Dave to come on and really highlight some statistics and details around that, it was a very popular episode.
I want to also point out that, over the last several years, obviously social isolation came to the forefront because of the pandemic and a lot of things like that. This company with Hamilton Captel, they were in a position to be able to talk about that because that's been their mission long before the global pandemic. So it was really cool for us to be able to highlight some of the awesome things that they're doing there. And we really appreciate them making it possible for us to do what we do.
And newcomer Kyle Gardner, Nick Map Vision, episode 268. Fascinating young leader, just a great thinker, another great mind that's thinking way outside the box, really big picture. Really appreciate what Kyle's doing there at Nick Map Vision.
Yeah, and it's fun to see the Nick Map Vision and Nick come together over the last year or so. And what an amazing opportunity and a wealth of information that provides to our industry and to those who are thinking about coming into our industry, giving them the research and the tools to be able to make informed decisions. And you're right, not only are they providing a great service, but it's just so fun to be working with actually great humans, great individuals.
Well, and our listeners are going to be very excited to know that Kyle and Nick Map Vision are going to be bringing a quarterly data update to the network, first ever that has been available in our industry in a format like this on a podcast. Very excited about that. A longtime supporter, Aaron Hayes at the newly aligned Align. Such great information, such great data, and such charisma too. Everybody loves Aaron.
Yeah, we've had her on the show many, many times because Aaron has been one of our early partners and been with us since early days, years ago, and year after year. Her and her team and her organizations have invested in giving back the wealth of information back to the industry. And so we couldn't be happier for their big news that we helped to break this past year. And so it's fun to continue on in that partnership under a new brand name.
Very excited to see the future of what that holds there. And a new supporter sponsor on our program, Brett Landrum of ProCare HR, episode 292. This is actually a really big topic that Bridge the Gap has not talked a lot about in this specific format. HR, retention, and labor is certainly a major, major topic. And we're very excited that Brett and his team are going to be helping Bridge the Gap really kind of uncover and illuminate more data and more information around this topic.
Yeah, and if people are not familiar and did not hear that episode, it's episode 292. You need to go back and you need to listen to that. It goes way bigger than just the HR topic, although that is a topic we could talk about every day, but just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, a great organization, and I can't wait to see what they do in the years to come.
Josh, some of our popular episodes this year involved a variety of different people. I'm just going to run down a list here. Alex Liu, great episode there. Leon Grunstein of GenCare, he's the founder, super great episode on wellness. Paul Sponcia, Daniel Levy, great architect on active adult. Chris Horde, he's a BTG ambassador, and then also a great developer, contractor, working at Distinctive Living. Great show there that we had at Mid-Year Asha. Sasha Dawn, a BTG ambassador, and also the founder of Utopia Experiences. I think that episode, I probably cried. I don't know. If you go back and see that, it was a little embarrassing for me, but great story. And then Sim Goldberg was a really, really fun conversation we had, and he's at Meridian.
So many great influencers informing and educating our audience on so many topics. And, one of the cool things, I actually heard that somebody was doing this. So many people don't realize that every single one of our episodes, no matter the topic, no matter the guest, are all transcribed. You can actually print that out. You can go take quotes. And many people are using that to go take to their teams or email that information to their teams or send these episodes forward. And we know what a wealth of information that all these guests have brought to our network.
That's right. And this is all located at btgvoice.com, the newly published website. Our website's been up for many years, but we did a complete overhaul this year. You can come up with a lot of different information there. And you know what? For all of our listeners, if you've stuck with us this long on this episode, we really appreciate it. And we would just humbly ask you to give us a rating. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Also, we have ratings on Google. And if you've been impacted by Bridge the Gap, or if you've been able to take some educational pieces and content away, we would love your support in just giving us a review.
That's exactly right. And if you're hearing about all these sponsors and thinking, how in the world could I be part of that? We do have opportunities, and we, through the years, have worked really hard to make sure pretty much any level of budget that your organization has on a small to a large category, we have something for you to get your voice out on the network.
Absolutely. And you know what? We really, really thank the companies that support us and sponsor us. Obviously, Josh, your portfolio of companies, Solinity and Solinity Marketing, also my group and my team at Bridge Group Construction have really helped bridge the gap on the financials. A big season 7 coming up. We're not stopping. We're going to continue to bring this mission forward to this industry that we know, love, and care about so much.
That's right. Every year we've been able to grow the platform, to grow the network because of all of you listening, because of all of you supporting. So we really appreciate every single listener informing, educating, and helping us influence the industry.
Merry Christmas to all of our listeners, and Happy New Year as well. We look forward to a great holiday season around the table with our loved ones, friends, and family, and so many communities right now enjoying time with their residents and their extended family. It's a great time of year. It's a special time for our industry as well. We're going to have a great 2024.
A very, very Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy holidays, and I hope you have a blessed new year.
Thanks for listening to Bridge the Gap podcast with Josh and Lucas. Connect with the BTG Network team and use your voice to influence the industry by connecting with us at btgvoice.com.